When I decide, I think you think, well, this is something I do. Actually, it's not. None of this work of enthronement of the Sacred Heart is done by me. The work of the enthronement is really His work. And just like, why are we doing this? It's an opportunity to let God use us to come to you and invite you to enthrone your home. But when you do that, that's His. He, God Himself, is reaching out to you and calling you by name. I want you and your family to belong to me. I want you to come into my kingdom. The initiator of enthronement is God Himself. You may think, oh, I'm doing this. No, you're not. God is calling you more than He called Abraham. Abraham, when He called him. When He called Samuel. God always initiates prayer. God always initiates union. There's nothing we can really do. God is always the first one to call. Can you imagine how much He loves you if He's using this to call to you? And you are the one who can hear it. Deep within your heart, you hear the call of God. God is calling us by name. That's how precious you are to Him. And He's calling you because He wants you to be consecrated to Him. Consecration is a powerful gift, which you, cooperating with God, can give back to God. Everything you give to God, He gave to you. But because of the movement within your heart, because of your free will and your desire to please God, you are giving back to God what He offered to you. And so He gave you everything you are. Everything you are is from God. Who are you? That particular seed that fertilized that particular egg in your mother, that soul that was blown into you, I knit you in your mother's womb. You are mine. I made you. Every beat of your heart, you're sustained until you think, I'm 86 years old because I did that. No. Every beat of my heart, every breath that I take, He gave me. And so He gives you all that you are. And this particular time, when you are called to consecrate yourself to Him by name, God is calling you. And if you have done that, supposing you're a religious sister, and you remember standing before the altar, consecrating your vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience to God, that was God calling you to give to Him through poverty all the possessions you have. God was calling you to give to your sexual powers to Him. I consecrate my chastity and my whole body to you, God. That consecratory prayer. I become His holy vessel. I am consecrated to you. And I now consecrate my will to you by obedience. I want to be perfectly yours, and I invite you in to do with me whatever you will. That, sister, means you are exactly given the power that Mary had. Just as a married woman is consecrating herself to her husband in the vows of marriage, I am giving myself in this consecratory prayer to another through you because of your will. It's your will that I marry this man. I give myself to you. And in your vows, it's your will that I give myself to you, Jesus, to use whatever you want of me. And I am one with you, consecrated to you for the rest of my life. Forever, I'm yours. That consecration that we have and giving to God is exactly what happens in the enthronement of the Sacred Heart. For husbands and wives, for religious, father, priest, brother, you are consecrated to God. Your body is his body. When you say over the host, this is my body, what does that mean? You don't say it's Christ's body. My body is his body. My blood is his blood. I am one with him. I'm consecrated. I'm holy. To take a holy thing and use it for an unholy object or action, horrible, horrible desecration, consecration, desecration. This is holy. My body is holy. I become holy. I am consecrated. When I do this with God, I make God a promise. But God makes me a promise. God has said to me, do you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to give you peace in your family. Oh, my goodness. And he will. To have a family where there's quarreling, anger, unforgiveness, bitterness, there's nothing more miserable than to have fighting and bickering and between a husband and wife. Can you remember the moments of conflict or arguments? Yes, hopefully that you can remember those, and they come with every family, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, parents and children, conflict. But to have peace, God says, I will give you peace. God promises that. When I can have, did you ever, if you're a father and your children aren't getting along with each other, I have a son and his wife aren't talking to my daughter and her husband, how you wish they would love one another. Consecrate yourselves and your family to the Sacred Heart, and God promises, I'll give you peace. Peace in the family is such a magnificent gift. And God promised, and he will work it. You have tried and tried to settle things between your son and your daughter, or the things in your family. Ask God to keep his promise. It's a promise, and he will keep it. Over and over again, the tranquility, the peace, and the calm. I remember so many times, the only place I ever saw war was in Lebanon. And for those years that I was there, shelling and bombing and car bomb blasts and killing and there was in me, I have to share this with you, an inner peace. But I would meet people who lived interiorly in peace. It took war for me to see that the promise of God, you see, you may be in a war zone. How are you going to find peace for you and your family? Through the enthronement of the Sacred Heart. Never have I found a home that will enthrone themselves to the Sacred Heart that hasn't found that gift of peace. One of the greatest gifts that God can give us, and he promises it, and if you will be true to your promise, if you consecrate yourself and you give yourself to God, God will give you peace. You will have peace every day. It will grow. This morning, what I was experiencing, I was reminding God, give me peace, inner peace. Give my wife peace. Give my son peace. agitation, anxiety, fear, worry are so common in families. God and in our world, Father, do you want peace in your parish? Are your people constantly conflicted? Do you want peace in your school? Is there constantly warfare and misery in your school? And it's a Catholic school, but there's fighting and arguing and bickering between parents and teachers and whatever. Enthrone the Sacred Heart. The Sacred Heart promises peace.